You know, and I agree with what you're saying. You definitely have to, certain things you have to do, and you're not going to get a lot of money because it will help you get to the point of having that thing on your resume that people recognize and respect.
Well, I went to Morehouse, so I know how to keep up. But it was just for me. I don't think that I ever really wanted to get into this for the money, because it was like at the end of the day, like if I told people that I want to be an actor, and then instantly like, oh, well, you just gonna stay broke. You know what I mean? Like, there's nothing, you know what I mean? Like, because you know, being an actor, when you make the decision, you know that you have to really like schlep it. And I remember saying to myself, if I'm gonna stay in this, I have to be okay with these bologna and cheese sandwiches that I'm committed to. Like, I have to make sure that I'm able to go to these auditions and do what I have to do. But I think you have to think smart, like what you said. You have to think the longevity of it, because at the end of the day, can't nobody tell you nothing. Really, you know, if you know that that's what you want to do, that's what you want to pursue, you have to know the long run of where you want to go. And it's going to be hard. Like, it's just going to be one of the hardest things that you've done, but I don't think anything in this life that's great is made easy. Like, you know, if you really have that passion, you kind of have to stick with it. And find your community, honestly. Like, that's what really helped me, is finding a community of people that had the same aspirations as I did and drove me along.
Well, that's interesting you say that. It's just, I know, like, I lived with two other comedians for like the first 5 years, and we just started stand-up before I did everything else. And we didn't have anything, but it was just fun to be around other artists that was exactly like me. Like, we used to like share pans and wings. Happily though, I think those broke years were some of the funnest years I've ever had.
Yeah,
because we love what we do. You're around people that love. I think that's a great point. I'm just saying, like, be around other great dreamers. Like, be around other dreamers. I mean, for real. Like, you could, like, if you got other people you can struggle with, it makes it so much easier. You know, it really does. As much as like you want to be around. You hear it all the time. Like, you know, people say you want to be like around like people or people. For real, do that. If you're around other people who have the same dream, it's just so much more fun. And like you got both of y'all said, it ain't about the money. I think that's the first thing. You can't even think about coming up first or trying to make money for real. Just do it because you love it. He went to Russia, directed a play, only got $100. But that experience and coming back and telling people that, I mean, it's tenfold, right? Yeah.
I think it's, you know, that's true whether you are pursuing a craft or you want to get into this business for business. You know, when I started, I moved down here with nothing, but I had roommates, and they also had nothing. And so we shared the little we had in order to try and get jobs in this business and really start working our way through it. And I think, you know, trying to live within your means while also pursuing it is really important. You know, I think that's a big part of it, is trying not to get over your skis too fast, because then you're living for the paycheck rather than trying to pursue your job. So, in your career. So that, to me, that was really critically important. Eventually it got there, but I was poor for a long time.
It's definitely a mix between balance and sacrifice. Like, you know, I moved to New York at 18, and I was interning. And the whole time I was doing that, I was working at a sneaker store. And I was assistant styling and doing this, that, and third. So it's definitely, balance is key, I feel like. And just keeping focused on the end goal, whatever that might be.
Let me ask you this real quick, too. I mean, it's another, like, interesting, which I want to know the answer to. What project do you think that you did, I guess, took you over the top? I mean, a lot of times people ask you, which thing happened that was like, oh, this was the thing that happened that made me, you know, become who, like, this, especially with I. Scott, like, I'm very interested in knowing that, like, which thing was like,
one of the
okay,
5
this
to
is
10?
it. Yeah.
I was, you know, I mean, we're talking about sacrifice. I was doing this little play, I mean, in a bar on the Lower East Side, in a back room. They were frying chicken in the kitchen, and we were doing this, and this little play that we started in December went to Henry Street in February, to the public theater in June, And on my birthday, we opened on Broadway, and that was for colored girls who considered suicide. I was stage managing Miguel Pinheiro play and shooing everybody out and bringing the women in. And we were rehearsing till sometimes we had to go to 5 o'clock in the morning because somebody was a waitress, somebody was a school teacher, somebody was doing this. And I said, when can we have a run through? Midnight to 5. And then we ended up the pink teacup having breakfast. That was number one. I'm sorry, I mean, I can keep going. Bustin' Loose with Richard Pryor and Cicely Tyson. I mean, we were making that up as we go along. That, all of a sudden, gave me a film career. And then, Cheetah Girls. And right now, I'm doing Black Lightning for the CW. We got a black superhero. And it just keeps going on. So, you know what I mean? Yeah. But you gotta sacrifice. It's sacrifice because it's about the art. The one thing I want to say, when we did for Colored Girls, I had somebody say, we can go to ABC, we could do this, we could do that. And I said, no, why don't we just do it? Don't worry about where it's gonna go, let's do it. And let them, and Ntozake Shange, when Joe Papp tried to mess with us, she looked at him, here we were at the Public Theater, she said, you leave Oz and me alone, because we can go back to that bar on the Lower East Side and do this. And make no money, but we're gonna do our art. And Joe said, oh, no, I wasn't trying to mess with you. But, you know, the paycheck can mess with you. Be careful of that paycheck. They will pay you to mess with you.
Man, that's the OG right there.
I know. He's dropping gems.
But Candy also, I mean, like, and that's about everybody. Everybody answers, like, what, I want to hear, because it's different stories, and we all have different things that became that thing with, like, okay, this is the project or the move I made that took everything over the top. Just, like, I mean, if you could just name one thing that, like, I mean, even with you, like, what was the thing was like, okay, this is, okay, I'm in.
I mean, honestly, I remember when I finally got a chance to do a Broadway musical. I originated the Book of Mormon when that came out. I was part of the original cast for that. And it was really tough. I just remember for me, like, being on the Broadway musical stage was not my dream. Like, I mean, I know many other actors who went to, like, Carnegie Mellon and all this stuff and trained to be these Broadway musical theater actors. And that wasn't my thing. And I remember getting up there and I was like, but this check, though. I was like, wait a minute. Because, you know, I started at the Public Theater. You know, Terrell Alvin McCraney is a classmate of mine who wrote Moonlight, and we graduated from Yale together. So I've done every play that he's ever written, and we literally started at the Public Theater, doing like a studio theater in DC, like regional theaters. And that was my heart and soul, like to do these plays and these parts with my colleague who's writing these great plays. But then I get this huge opportunity to be a part of this brand new musical from the creators of South Park. And I'm playing this African warlord and General Butt fucking naked. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm gonna say that on Broadway every day. But I was not happy. Like, I knew that was not what I wanted. Like, I really wanted to get back to the grassroots where I started with theater. And I remember after staying with them for 3 years, because like I said, that check was amazing. I stayed, and I remember people calling it a government job. They were like, you got that government job, you know, you got the Book of Mormon on Broadway, it's never gonna close. And I was like, but this is not how I want to be seen. So I remember leaving after 3 years and sitting in my apartment thinking, well, what's the next step? Is this what you really want to do? You really want to be, like, how are you going to show people how you want to be seen, and where's the meat, where's the juice of what you really want to do? Because if it don't work out after this, you better find another job. Like, I was like, you better get a cubicle, you better do security, you better figure something out. And I remember
straight to security.
when I'm from DC, so like all my sisters like work security. I was like, I can do that. I'm saying, I can't do that. And I'll never forget, my manager sitting down with the script. She's like, there's this new show coming out called Atlanta, and I was like, Atlanta? What you mean? I was like, Atlanta how? Like, you know, because I went to college, and like, Atlanta is literally where I discovered who I was from 18 to 22. Being here at this school when I made the decision to be an artist. Like, you couldn't tell me anything about who I was. Like, Atlanta literally made me who I was and made me so fearless to go out and do what I want. So I opened this and she's like, well, there's this character named Alfred. You think you want? She's like, I think you could introduce me. I was like, nah. I was like, they're not gonna put a character. Like, there's no way that they're gonna make a character like this. But you couldn't tell me anything. Like, I noticed, dude, like, this is my best friend. This is like my cousin. This is all I could. And when I dug in there and Donald gave me the chance, I had no idea that was going to be the thing. I had no clue that was going to be the way that I would be seen by the world, really. But I'm so grateful that I really, like, stuck to it. It was like, I have to know that it comes from the heart. You know what I mean? Like, I have to know that there's something out there that will really drive me along, because here I am doing this Broadway musical, which could be looked at as successful, but I was miserable. Like, I was like, if these Mormons sing, if they ring this doorbell one more damn time, and I was miserable. But like, once I really like stuck to my guns and really like was like, okay, something's out there. Maybe it hasn't been written yet. Maybe I haven't shown the world like exactly what I can do. It was placed right in front of me, and I was like, okay, I got to keep going with that. And then the journey that I've been on, meeting all these people who I admire, like I said about the community, like, you guys have no idea how you have inspired. Like, I was like, sir, I must bow to you. Like, seriously, like, it is an honor. Candy, you already know. You already know. And so it's like, I think the best part about it is that I'm still a fan of this stuff. Like, I'm still a fan. Like, I'm literally, honestly looking at these people who are just doing this evolution and revolution of art, who are people of color, who are allies, who are all, it's fantastic. So that's the thing that keeps me trying to keep me going. I do not remember the question though. What was the question? You did a monologue. Sorry, I'm just very excited to be here. All right, but that's it.
Well, real quick also too, I mean, I'm asking questions that I want to ask, and also we have students here who sent in questions, so I'm going to make sure I get to as many as their questions as I can. And it's really good questions, actually. Last one for me, but I don't want to answer my stuff yet. But I'm a happy person, man. So if I laugh, I think this is a great question right here, right? This is from Jasmine Arnold, who goes to Florida A&M. Okay,
How y'all get?
what y'all say? Florida A&M Snakes? Oh, I didn't know. Being an African American as well as a woman, what types of hurdles do you find yourself having to jump, unlike your male peers, in order to break into the industry? And how would you advise a youth like herself to know what is worth doing to make it and what is not?
Wait, I'm sorry.
I'll read it again. Being an African American, and this is her, I'm not a woman, so I'm just reading it from her perspective. Being an African American as well as a woman, what types of hurdles did you find yourself having to jump, unlike your male peers, in order to break into this industry? And how would you advise a youth like herself to know what is worth doing to make it and what is not?
Okay, well, I mean, I guess I'm the only African American woman.
Yeah. There's a lot of women in here. That's why
Well, okay, first of all, I always say you never want to do anything that you live and you regret, okay? So don't live life with regrets. That's first and foremost. To me, I started in the music business, and the music business is really like a boys' club, and especially if you want to get on the songwriter producer side of things, it's way more guys that are running, production and all that than there are women. And so you have to learn the balance of networking with people without necessarily becoming the chick that's just wanting to hang around the studio. You know what I mean? You gotta be really there to work. You gotta be really there like, oh, this is the song that I got, so that they represent, they're respecting you while you're there and not just looking at you as a chick that's trying to be there to hook up. You get what I'm saying? Because there are a lot of chicks that just come to the studio to hook up or whatever. So you have to really be about your business and really trying to make something happen and be serious when you get there. I mean, yeah, everybody's gonna laugh and play games because this is the entertainment business and everybody's there, gonna have fun. But simple stuff that I just used to be. I'm not a drinker, and the reason why with the beginning, and I don't like the taste of alcohol, but also I just used to hate when I saw chicks that just got drunk and got high with everybody in the studio, and then it's like they look at you different. So it's like, even though, as fellas, like guys can sit up and get drunk and get high together all day, but if you got a girl doing that with you and she ain't really like bringing us to the table musically or whatever, then you know what that turns into. So it's like always have to walk this fine line of, people gonna want to holler at you, a certain attractive people, whatever. But you can't just always you can't fall into that. You know what I mean? So you definitely gotta be about your business and be focused and know what you're trying to make happen. And you just gotta be good at what you do. You know what I mean? I think people respect you if you're good at what you do. I think a lot of people think they're good, but they're not really good. And what I mean by that is, if you're taking a track to somebody, right, or a song to somebody, you have to compare yourself to what's already out there on the radio. Because if I'm gonna buy something and it's a record label or whatever, I want it to be something that's just as hot as what I'm hearing on the radio. It can't be just good because, it's good for what's going on with you and your friends. It's gotta be really good, And so I just think people have to really just focus and just go hard for what you want. And stop thinking that other people care about what's going on with you. And I know that's sad to say, but it's real. So just because you're in your feelings, because a lot of time as women, sometimes we get in our feelings, we get emotional, keep that to yourself. Don't come up around in a circle and be like thinking everybody gonna feel sorry for you because you're on your period that day. Or that, you didn't have a babysitter or whatever. You gotta make it work and make it happen. And a lot of times that means you have to work a little bit harder than your peers or, your fellow counterparts. You have to work a little bit harder, but because you work harder, eventually it's gonna be noticed and recognized and, respected and loved.
Give it up for Pinkett.
Can I say something to that? I just want, a woman walked into my office once and said, I want to be a director. And I said, oh, okay, so what have you written? Well, I'm working on a script. What have you, directed? Well, she kept going, and I had to stop her. And I said, I like a good-looking woman, don't get me wrong. But you walked in here with your dress way up here, and the only thing I'm looking at is your legs. And she said, oh, you're one of them? I said, no. If you had come in with the work, I'd be looking at the work. You came in with nothing, and you expect me to do something for you.
Right. That was my point, exactly. I feel like as women, sometimes it can be a gift and a curse. Sometimes you can have more people who have their eye on you or want to pay attention because you're cute or whatever. But if you don't come with something, then you're going to fall into that circle of, oh yes, whatever. You have to have something other than your looks or whatever it is to be respected and to get what you really want out of the situation, which is to be successful in the business that you're trying to be in.
And I think even for men, for African American men, I had an Uber driver said, do you face discrimination in the business? And I said, yeah. But let's move on. It's about my work. When people see my work, somebody said, why do you get hired so much? And I said, I do my work, it's good, and I like to go home. And that people like that. They just, making their money. They're happy. But don't come in there crying. Don't come in there exactly what Candy says. Don't come in there, woe is me. Woe is me. What you gonna do for me? They ain't gonna do nothing for you because they really don't care about you.
It sucks to say, but that's true.
It's true, and I think it's also true that, people are not thinking about, I say this all the time, I'm like, whoever you're dealing with is thinking about what you're going to do for them and whether or not you have the skills to do what they're trying to do. whether it's, you know, your boss, a label, a studio, or whatever, they're thinking about, okay, what is it that you're bringing to the table that's going to help me be successful, the company be successful, help the business make more money. And so, in general, you just have to be coming in thinking about, what am I bringing to this person, not what is this person going to be bringing to me. And I think if you go into it with that mindset, you're going to be just fine.
Well, Laura, let me ask you this too, like, because you're a big part of like seeing all these new projects come in, and I want to ask you what you're most excited about as far as the new. I feel like it's a refreshing group coming into Hollywood, into writing this, you know, like, you know, Atlanta's one of the shows, Insecure. It's just so many, to me, like, new group of people who just bring on this dope energy into creating stuff. Like, what do you look for? Like, when somebody comes to you with a project or a pitch or something, what type of stuff are you looking for?
Okay, well, first I'm going to correct all notions. There's a lot of descriptions of the word studio. I run a production studio. So I run the below-the-line side of it, not necessarily the development side of it. But generally speaking, the thing that we're looking to do more than anything is create content that can go across any platform. And new voices, diverse voices, voices that speak to the culture that exists now in media. Because I've been at Turner for 25 years, I've been in this business for 25 years, and you know, when I started, we were making original movies, and they were westerns and Bible movies, and my first movie I ever worked on was a movie called Percy and Thunder with James Earl Jones and Courtney Vance, and that was the traditional, you know, television model based on general entertainment. Now media is everywhere, and it's very democratized. And, you know, most of us could make content with the devices we have in our pocket. And so the voices that we're looking for and the voices that we're looking to connect with is whoever is the audience. And you can now make money off of smaller audiences. There was a time when it was all about scale and scope. Now it's about personalization. It's about connecting. It's about having fans that are passionate. And so I think that's the key, is having a unique voice that is something that really connects with people, and I think that's what everyone's looking for.
I'm sorry if I keep talking, but this is a number that I heard which was real interesting, and something that we have to think about is that about 5 years ago, 10 years ago, when a major motion picture was being done, I think 45% of the money was coming from foreign. I've heard that number's gone up to 75%. I mean, and that's something we have to understand, that